Hello. Today I've got a meeting that I have to attend, so I won't be here at the beginning of class. If all goes well, I hopefully will be back before the end of class, but it's possible Krista will be with you the entire class period. I want to go over with you what you need to be doing today and where we are at in preparation for the certification exam. Today we're going to continue preparing for the certification exam. At this point, you should be finishing the Core Test 1 and Core Test 2 in training mode. You should have received a 90% or better and have turned that into N grade. If you have not gotten to the point where you are finishing Core Test 2 in training mode within the first 10 to 15 minutes today, you are a little bit behind schedule and you need to be thinking about putting in some extra time after school, either in my classroom or, as I've mentioned before, you can work on this from home if you have a Windows computer. Today you're going to begin working in Core Test 1 in testing mode. This means two different things. It's the same questions you got when you were in training mode. However, you do not have access to the help file, and there is a timer. It's a 50-minute timer that will be in play as you are taking this test. So you need to make sure that you're moving from one item to the next and not getting distracted. If for some reason you do need to use the restroom or step out for a little bit, you will want to save your work so that your timer will be stopped. You do need to score at least an 80% in order for this test to count. That is showing me that you actually do know how to do the work. You haven't just followed the instructions in the help file, but you have read the question and you're capable of performing the task without the help file. If you do score at least an 80% or better, please make sure that you upload the screenshot of that score to N grade. That does count as a quiz grade when you're working in the testing mode. If you complete Core Test 1 before the end of class, I would like you to begin working on Core Test 2, also in testing mode. Now, it's unlikely you will finish that by the end of class. A few students have, but if you don't finish, that's okay. You can hit the Save button in the bottom right corner of Gmetrics, and that will save your progress. Now, I do have a few students who have actually are working ahead and they've already completed Core Test 1 and maybe even Core Test 2. If you're in that situation and you have at least a half an hour left before the end of the class, I would like you to begin working on the Core Project 1. I want you to do this in training mode. Again, this is only for the student who is ahead of the game right now. What this particular project does is it simulates what the real test will look like. Krista can probably give you some assistance in being able to know how to work with this because, like the greater projects that we've done, you will have one document in which you will have a bunch of instructions to complete. So you're going to want to work through those instructions. Make sure before you submit this that you do click on the Save button, not the Save button for Gmetrics, but the Save button in Word before you save your work in Gmetrics. Well, that's about it. You'll need to get started in Gmetrics, either in Core Test 1 and 2, in testing mode or training mode if you haven't finished those training items, and make sure that you turn those items in to N grade. The last thing I want to touch on is your homework for this weekend, the diving in. So I've gone to my website. This is currently the schedule page, and I'm going to click diving in over here on the right hand side. The assignment for this week is to answer some questions on ribbon locations. As you go through these questions, you may use Microsoft Word as you complete this work, and if you do not score well, you may go back and repeat the questions again to get a better score. In these questions, there's about 20 of them. You're going to get questions in which you need to match or tell me what ribbon each of the buttons are. So for example, if I said, where is Find and Replace, you would need to be able to tell me that that would be on the Home tab. So you're going to need to be able to answer those questions. The items that you're being tested on in this particular homework assignment are the same items that you can expect to see on the certification exam. So knowing where the buttons are located can save you time as the certification test is timed. Well, that's it. Go ahead and get started.